Welcome to Campfire Wisdom. Grab a seat around the fire and tell us your story.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Campfire Wisdom. We are at Mojave River Forks Recreation Park, and there's a campground here. And I'm actually in one of the group campsites because there is nobody here, so it's kind of cool. It's about maybe 20 miles outside of Hesperia to the southeast. So kind of a cool little area, open desert. I'll give you some shots of what's going on here, but a lot of juniper trees, clear sky, like it is gonna be awesome tonight. I do have a full moon coming up right now. So while that is spectacular, and I'm actually gonna get a photo of that, it's amazing, it's fantastic, but the damn moon screws up what you can see at night. It just pollutes the sky. So there are some nights where I'm all about it. Other nights where I'm like, you know what? I kind of wish I didn't have that moon. So I think tonight is going to be one of those nights where I kind of wish I didn't have that friggin' moon. It's just too powerful, man. It's just too much. Could not find anyone that was able to join me. And to be honest, sometimes it's nice to get away by yourself and just kind of, just let your mind totally be free. So one thing about this place, it's super close. So it took me about 45 minutes to get here from my place, which is in Rancho Cucamonga. So again, totally accessible. I left my house at 2 o'clock. So if I had been working, I could have packed all my stuff and left from work and been here about the same time. So again, just trying to really hit home with you guys that it is completely feasible and plausible and accessible for you to get out here and do it, make it happen. Now, tonight is a little different. Yes, you can make it happen, but you need to be prepared for the cold. So it's going to be cold tonight. I'm already kind of bundled up. I'm actually wearing gloves, which I found them while I was going through my pack. I was like, oh my God, these are going to be amazing tonight. So I got my gloves, which is kind of nice. You may hear me walking around. You may hear the fire crackling. I kind of keeping it a little bit low because it is a little bit windy out here. I don't want to have any stray embers just kind of popping off here, so I got to kind of keep track of that. But yeah, it's really good to be back, good to be out here. So we're going to do a little bit of cold weather camping tonight. I took some videos earlier of kind of my setup, and I'll make sure and have those posted on my feeds, so my Instagram and stuff, so you guys can check it out. But totally easy to do. And the stuff that I am using is not difficult to obtain. It's not expensive, and it probably might be something you would have laying around the house, with the exception of the space blanket. Space blanket is cheap. Those are basically, I'm sorry, I'm calling it a space blanket, but technically it's an all-weather blanket. It's got like a reflective side on one side, and then just regular on the other. It's kind of designed for emergency situations, but got that on the bottom. Going to be reflecting my body heat back at me. Got a layer of insulation, then I got my padding, then I got another sleeping bag, then it's going to be the sleeping bag that I'm actually in, and then I have a heavy ass like wool blanket that's just going to sit on top of me and make sure I'm toasty. The wind is picking up a little bit, and it's just really nice out here, man. I'm actually no longer getting a shadow cast from the sun. It is dark. But I'm literally getting my shadow cast from the moon. And that's what I'm talking about when it's a little bit too much. Moon, I could use you at about a 3 right now. You're at about an 8. If you don't mind taking it down, that'd be fantastic. But yeah, it's good to be out here, guys. It's good to be out here. So I hope you guys enjoyed sitting down and chatting with Gisela. I had a lot of fun with that one. Got a lot of really good feedback. I still have yet to get an email, so please, someone send me an email, even if it's a friend of mine. Just tell me you love me, tell me that you're listening, or tell me what you think. Remember, though, the first person that's not my friend, doesn't know me or whatnot, I'm going to buy you a sleeping bag. Is that a hell of a deal or what? Come on, take advantage of it. Take advantage of me. Let's make it happen. So shoot me a communication. But Um, Tonight, or I should say today, as I was setting up camp, there's a bunch of hills around me. So I'll set the terrain a little bit. We're kind of in this basin, and the basin is obviously this desert area. Probably this is a floodplain at some point if it were to have a major flood, but we've got hills on both sides. And sorry guys, the wind's picking up a little bit. I'm watching these coals. But yeah, so hills on one side. We do have a mountain range on the right-hand side, and there's actually snow on the mountain range. Now it's not, right where I'm at. It's definitely higher, but kind of a cool thing to think that maybe it could happen. So we are at a 40% chance of rain, and I can see clouds coming in, which is why I have started this cast a little bit early. It's probably about 6:30 my time. Shit, that wind is picking up. Yeah, starting it a little bit early because the storm could roll in. So I do have my setup. My setup's good. It will protect me in the rain, so we should be fine, so nothing to worry about. But back to the setup here with the hills on the sides and in this gully. I was thinking about something that I like a conversation I had with a buddy of mine, my buddy Alex, and it reminded me of when you hear that saying, oh, he rode in on his white horse and, handled business. And you're kind of talking about that arrogant prick or the dude who thinks he's shit doesn't stink, you know what I mean, blah, blah, blah. He rode in on his white horse. Well, I was thinking about it. So I'm obviously in the desert, and we were having this conversation, but I'm just reminded of that conversation. But if you have a white horse, and I know this is a totally random thought, but you got a white horse and you are coming to attack like your enemy, that's pretty bold, because if you think about it, your enemy's like, oh shit, there's Greg and his white horse, they're back, fuck. You're pretty much so confident that you're announcing that you're returned. So even though I know we kind of think of that riding in on your white horse as kind of a negative connotation, it's like, but think about the history behind that phrase. It's kind of cool, because think about the dude who was ballsy enough to say, yeah, I am gonna have a white horse. Napoleon, he was a ballsy mofo. I mean, he wasn't very tall, but he was a ballsy motherfucker. So having a white horse, that's pretty cool. Anyways, a little bit of etymology for you guys. And if I said that wrong, if it's actually etymology, okay, there you go. You get both, etymology or etymology. So we've been talking in the last few weeks about hunting, firearms, all kinds of stuff relating to hunting, and I've consciously chosen not to talk about the school shooting that we had on Valentine's Day. I know now they're calling it the Valentine's Day Massacre, which is fucking horrible. It is what it is, but still, it's just like, goddamn, how do we get here? What the fuck is going on? This shit didn't happen in the 50s when kids could get guns so much easier. Boy Scouts were shooting fucking rifles when they were 11, 12 years old. Now you got to get parent signature to do all that kind of crazy shit. But what the fuck is wrong with us, man? What's wrong with our country? What's wrong with people? And I know you'll get the people that say, oh, we shouldn't limit the guns because we don't want to, put a fucking constraint on the Second Amendment. Well, I'm a Second Amendment supporter. I've got firearms for hunting, for self-defense, for enjoyment, and I don't own an AR-15. I have a sport rifle. I have a handgun for self-defense. Our country's gone nuts, and there's obviously something needs to be done. We are a different society now than we were then, so we need to adapt to it. So maybe because we can't get our shit together and figure out what's going on psychologically with these kids, maybe we should limit it. And I'll tell you what, I would be totally fine with, you can get a rifle at 18. A rifle that has 5 rounds, bolt action. You're not gonna do anything nuts with that. You're gonna go hunting. It's gonna be a source of, an American tradition, that's fine. 21, get a handgun. Okay, that's a little bit more for self-defense. It has higher capacity. It's more concealable. You're hopefully more responsible at that point. And maybe that's the same age you do an AR-15 or anything that's semi-automatic. That's what I think. Bolt action to 18, boom, single shot. When you're 21, you've graduated to semi-automatic. It just makes sense. Something has to be done. We could always peel it back. That's the thing. People are always freaked out about once you do one thing, you're gonna have to keep it that way forever. Look at the assault weapon ban. The assault weapon ban went in place in 2004 and it was bye-bye by 2014. Things come and go. We have to adapt. That's my 2 cents. I am a Second Amendment supporter, but I recognize that we don't need AR-15s. I have guns. I don't have an AR-15. I have shotguns, rifles, handguns, and that's fine. And just for shits and giggles, I want a revolver, Smith & Wesson 686 Plus, which is like a, 7-shot revolver. Everyone's got to have a revolver just out in the wild. It's super reliable, super durable. And then, of course, I would like the all-weather Henry lever action rifle in around 45-70, which is a pretty sick all-weather rifle. That's pretty much your defense against anything. That will stop bears, that'll stop mountain lions, you name it. Those two pieces and my gun collection is complete. So I'm just putting that out there. We can be responsible about it. We can find a solution, and we can still, enjoy American traditions. We can have fun shooting stuff at a range. We can go hunting. It's not going to change our way of life. I know I'm totally preaching to the choir right now, but I just didn't also want to completely ignore the elephant in the room as this horrible event happened and we were talking about guns and firearms. It just seemed really inappropriate to talk about the shooting at that time. So I just want to let everyone know that I am a conscientious person, and it pains me to have to see what is happening in our schools. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. So peace and love. We need more of that. We need peace and love in this world. So the moon is definitely doing its thing. It's creeping. It is bright as hell. And yeah, I can see my shadow. All right. I'm gonna put a little bit more wood on this fire here. Get this thing going a little bit. I gotta burn through this tonight. And I need to make sure and put it out because we've got quite a lot of wind. Can't have any risk of fire, obviously. That would be a bad thing. For those of you who are not big campers, you're kind of getting into it, make sure you always bring enough water to put out the fire effectively. Unless, of course, you're a night owl and you're gonna actually wait for all the embers to be out, which you are not, so do yourself a favor, get some water, and plan accordingly because you wanna make sure that fire is out. You do not wanna be the one who starts a forest fire. That's not a bad look. I kind of hope it does rain tonight. It'd be nice to be able to see how my setup works. I've cold weather camped before, and it was Giesel and I up in Yosemite, and we did pretty good. It got down to about 29 degrees. We were bundled up like crazy, but yeah, so this is just me, and I was comfortable, but I wasn't like toasty. I want to be toasty. I want to be like not even worried about having cold feet. So I do have the fly on tonight. That's something I usually don't do. I do usually like to be able to see the stars at night. I always like to tell you guys about some of the kind of new gadgets I got. I haven't really got a lot of new stuff lately, but I finally decided to get a full tang knife, which is like where the metal extends from the handle all the way to the tip of the blade, so it's one solid piece of metal. And I actually totally forgot I bought it. I thought it was actually an older knife I had, but I was grabbing it and I was like, oh my God, I totally forgot that I bought this, because I actually bought it probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was like only $25 on Amazon, but pretty sweet. I'll post some information on it so you guys can take a look at it. But so far so good. It's taken a few licks already and helped me split some of the wood that we're putting on here right now, so that's kind of nice. But it's made by Schrade, and I can't remember the actual code on it, the model number, but I'll post that stuff. But so far so good. The thing I liked about it, I was realizing that I need something stronger and bigger because a collapsible folding knife isn't going to really, you don't have that full size blade that you need sometimes if you're trying to maybe use it to split wood, or if you're trying to take branches off or even hack. Like I could actually use this thing to hack wood. The pieces that I got today are a little too hard for that, a little too thick and dense, but you could actually use it for that. So kind of a cool thing to do. And definitely one of the camping essentials that you'll want. And I'll probably do an episode on that down the road here, talking a little bit about that. You can hear the train out here. I know we've talked about it before, but it's just nice. Sound of the West, man. Sound of the West. That cloud structure that was coming in is actually being diverted. It's actually not coming my way anymore. Huh. We may avert a storm entirely. That would be interesting. We'll see. But yeah, today, one other thing to consider when you are doing a quick turnaround trip is trying to keep it simple as far as your food. So I just got like a bag of peanuts, a bag of these candied pecans, a couple coffee drinks for tomorrow, and just like a couple like orange juice and some smoothie stuff. Something like not have to worry about bringing a stove, can just snack and then kind of get by and then keep it easy. I know I was singing Gisela's praises last week because she is the camp chef, and there is something nice about that. But I also like having nothing. I like just being super lean. You know, if I gotta fucking bounce in like 15 minutes, I guarantee you, if I needed to break camp in 15 minutes, I could break it in 15. It would be tough because it took me about an hour to set up, but it could be done for sure. So you never know. Shit could go down. But I want to get all set up fully for winter camping, and I want to really explore hammock camping. So hammock camping is fantastic because you want to talk about being light and nimble. That's huge. You can literally set up your hammock in about 5 minutes. So how it works is the absolute cat's meow for hammocks is ENO, Eagle's Nest Outfitters. You can pick those up at REI. They're fucking amazing. They're $60 for a single, $70 for a double. Go with the double, you get more material. It's amazing. And I know I've talked a little bit about it, but I've been diving into it a little bit more. So you can get this thing called the quilt. It's called the Ember quilt, and the quilt fits underneath your hammock. So imagine the hammock is a parachute. It's parachute material, super thin, super strong. So that's why they're inexpensive, and they're strong. You could basically, you string it between the trees, you're in it, you're comfortable, it molds to you, you're good to go. But that wind will pick up underneath you and freeze your ass off. So the quilt actually goes underneath it and keeps you warm from the bottom. Now, ENO does make a top quilt also. Now, a top quilt is essentially just a sleeping bag. So what I'm going to try to do is get the quilt, the bottom part, with my hammock, and then use my sleeping bag and see if that's something that is feasible. And a couple reasons why I like this idea is I love sleeping on the ground in a tent, but lately, I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or whatnot, but I have a hard time I'm having more of a hard time getting comfortable. Because you can't sleep on your side because there's just not enough. You know, I'm a skinny dude. I got bony ass hips, and my hips are digging in the ground. I wake up, takes me about 10 minutes to learn how to walk again. But with a hammock, you can string it tight, and you obviously would have a natural bow in your back. It's going to kind of mold to you. I just think that might be the next evolution, especially if I'm going to be doing some solo camping and stuff like that. So it might be kind of fun. So that is something I will be exploring as well. think I'm going to put some more wood on here because I'm not going to be long for this earth. Well, it looks like I may have needed more firewood. I've got 4 pieces of slow burning mahogany left. So when you buy those wood packs at the store, they usually will put some pine in there that you can break up with a hatchet, easy. So, and then some harder, more dense pieces of wood that will burn slowly. So make sure if you do buy wood, don't burn the wrong one at the wrong time. You do not want to try to start a fire with those thick, dense pieces of wood because you will be spending all day, all night doing that. So I've got 4 pieces of mahogany left. I got a pretty good fire going. I mean, I'm warm, I'm comfortable. I don't even have my heavy jacket on right now, actually, to be honest. But yeah, we'll see. It's about 7 o'clock right now. Definitely not going to make it a late one because this wood is going to be gone before 9:30 for sure, if not sooner. So I'm going to have to make the most of it. And apologize for my constant sniffling, but it is cold as balls out here. So my nose is runny. And I did not bring a hanky. Wind's starting to pick up here a little bit more. I have been told that there are some animals around. So according to the gentleman who took my money earlier, his name was Alex, nice guy. There are donkeys. So there's some wild donkeys around here. He said there's 2 of them. So that's kind of interesting. And there is a family of coyotes. Coyotes. Yeah, I don't know. What do you like? What sounds better, coyote or coyote? Coyote, 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 coyote. Well, I can't decide. I'm gonna say coyote actually, because that's where I'm from. You know, AZ. That's how we say it. But it'd be cool to hear some of the coyote tonight, some of the yipping. Wow. The moon is a flashlight. The moon is shining a flashlight on me right now. It's crazy. Actually, by the way, I'm not in an altered state at this point in time. The moon is just a fucking giant flashlight right now. It's crazy. It's crazy. I should be in an altered state right now. Yeah, but I'm here solo, so I got to keep my wits about me. I'm more worried about fucking man than animals, to be honest. Man's a crazy one. I'm actually on high alert right now because the wind is just whipping up. Every once in a while, we get a little startup of a little gust of wind, and it just kicks up some embers. So I just kind of, they're small and tiny, and they're out before they even hit the ground. But you know, you never know. It's definitely clear. There's not a lot of brush hanging around the fire pit, but it sure is dry as fuck out here. So got to be careful. Got to be mindful. Got to protect our forests, and they will protect us. In the past, I've read a few like Native American legends, and I'm going to do that tonight. As you guys know, a couple weeks ago, I was in Death Valley with Gisela, and so this was called the Queen of Death Valley. It's a Shoshone legend, and yeah, I'd like to share that with you. So, long, long ago, Indians used to say this valley was beautiful and fertile. The people who lived there were ruled by a beautiful but capricious queen. One time she ordered them to build a mansion for her, one that would surpass any mansion ever built by their neighbors, the Aztecs. For years, her people worked to make a palace that would please her. From places many miles away, they dragged stones and logs. The queen, fearing that her age or an accident or an illness might prevent her from seeing her dream come true, ordered many of her people to assist in the work. Gradually, her tribe became a tribe of slaves. The queen commanded even her own daughter to join those dragging logs and stones. When the noonday heat caused the workers to drag along slowly, with heads bowed low, the queen rode angrily among them and lashed their naked backs. Because royalty was sacred, the people did not complain. But when she struck her own daughter, the girl turned, threw down her load of stone, and solemnly cursed her mother and her mother's kingdom. Then, overcome by heat and weariness, the girl sank to the ground and died. In vain, the queen lamented and regretted. All nature seemed to punish her. The sun came out with blinding heat and light. Vegetation withered. Animals disappeared. Streams and wells dried up. At last, the queen had to give up her life. She died with high fever. There was no one to soothe her last moments, for her people, too, were dead. The mansion, half completed, stands in the midst of this desolation. Sometimes it seems to rise into view of people at a distance, in the shifting mirage that plays along the horizon. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. The queen who learned her lesson. There's always an interesting lesson to be learned in these legends. So, don't beat your children, don't be prideful, and don't exploit your subjects. Good lessons. We would be a much better society if all of us got outdoors more often. We would appreciate nature, we would appreciate each other, we would understand our connection to each other that goes beyond, fucking party lines and race and ethnicity and all this bullshit. It would just be like we're just sitting around a campfire and we needed to stay warm. So that's my intent. And I'm glad you guys are on for the journey. So it's been really cool to chat with you guys. I don't know if I have anything else to say, but all I do want to say is thank you for being here. I will see you soon. And thanks for being a part of Campfire Wisdom. Take care. Bye-bye.
Campfire Wisdom is brought to you from the hills of Rancho Cucamonga. We'd like to thank the men and women that protect our national parks and forests. You make this journey possible. Theme music by Sean Cromwell.